The letter started with, "Dear Mom, I'm gay."
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Dear Mom, I'm Gay podcast. This is your host, David Dilsizian, and I am here with a fabulous guest, Avalon Cassel. She's royalty. Say hello.
Hi.
So I'm going to be honest with y'all and just let you know that we are redoing this. We definitely did this once. Well, we didn't get through the whole thing, so that's good. And we had some technical difficulties, and we had to start again. So Avalon and I have already been friends for like a minute now, and we're going to continue to be friends. I want to tell everyone how I know Avalon a little bit. She used to work at a church that I worked for called Genesis, and she was our sign language interpreter, and she was fabulous.
Thank you.
You were. We had a woman before you that wasn't very nice, and I never knew if she loved me or hated me, and I constantly tried to get her to love me, and I don't think I ever succeeded at that. And when she left the church, I was like, who are they going to get? And I remember you walked in really late on your first Sunday, but you were so bubbly and fun. And I instantly was like, I love this girl. Like, where has she been my whole life?
Thank you. I know. It was so fun meeting you. You made that church so fun.
Thank you. There are moments where I really miss the community there. The LGBT community there was fabulous.
It was.
But overall, the job was a nightmare. We won't get into that. Anyways, we did the first time, and you guys will never hear that conversation. That is not why we stopped filming. Recording. I always say filming because
It's the same thing.
but we're not filming anything. Like, we're just sitting here with coffee, with chatting. P.S.
Yes.
And by the way, Avalon brought me Starbucks, and I love her for that. And I'm just going to put out a request to everyone that comes after her. You are welcome to bring me Starbucks. She got me a 4-pump toffee nut syrup latte with oat milk, and it's delicious. Oh my gosh. And she said this is her go-to.
It is.
Yeah.
I am an iced coffee girl, so I have an iced coffee with toffee nut oat milk. And I was feeling fancy today, so I did a cold foam too. But
You are so fancy today.
no,
Oh my gosh.
very high on caffeine too.
Yeah, you've already had a busy day.
I know. Yeah.
Avalon, in addition to being a fabulous human, is also a figure skating coach.
Yes.
So she spent her morning like teaching people how to skate.
Yeah.
And I love that. So tell us a little bit about your figure skating journey, and then we'll dive into our game.
Yeah. So I started skating when I was 7. I was like bad at every sport. I was like obsessed with Disney princesses when I was a kid.
That's adorable.
And so my mom literally tried every sport, like t-ball, basketball, like soccer, all of it. Even dance. And I was like bad at all of them. I would like stand on the sidelines and like twirl my hair. I broke my glasses once in basketball because I wasn't paying attention. Got like hit in the face with a ball. I would like spin and like sing princess songs and like all of the things. And then my mom we went to like a homeschool figure skating thing or ice skating thing. And I did a spin on one foot. And my mom was like, oh my God,
She's good at something.
she's good. And like spinning is like allowed here. It's like good here. And
Yeah.
she signed me up for lessons that day, and I never looked back. And then we moved to Michigan, and then I did like a little overlap of like volunteer coaching at my rink for like 2 years, and then we moved again, and I started coaching at the rink I coach at now. I've been there
love
for 6 years as of last month, and yeah, I love it. It's like all my kids, like some of them that I taught how to skate are now like taller than me and are like full-blown hockey players, and other ones like that I taught to skate are like jumping and spinning now. And
That's amazing.
yeah, I know I told you this earlier, but like I go in between like teaching like babies literally stepping on the ice for the first time ever,
Yeah.
how to skate and like how to stand up, and then I switch like a half an hour later to jumping and spinning teenage girls, and it's like a whirlwind, but
That's so
I love
cool.
it.
That's so cool. The little gay boy inside of me that watched figure skating all the time. My sister is like obsessed with all things Olympics.
Yes.
Like when we were younger, she would make scrapbooks for every Olympics, and like she was like into the Olympics, and figure skating is her favorite
Oh my
part.
gosh, I love that.
So I feel like growing up, it was always on TV, and I didn't understand that little boys weren't supposed to like it, but I loved it as much as my sister did.
Yeah,
And I
mean,
still
who
watch
wouldn't love it.
Have you watched like the recent like competitions with Olympics, like the Russian girls that put their hands over their head.
Oh my gosh.
They're intense. They're so good. Like they're all incredible.
Well, that one that had the like controversy, she was like 14 or 15.
Yeah.
I was like, how are you? I don't know. It was crazy.
That's amazing. We're gonna have to have like our separate podcast where we just geek out over figure
Yes.
skaters.
I'll bring you like my sparkly dresses someday.
Deal. We're gonna do a video on Instagram where we look at all her sparkly dresses.
Yes.
So maybe that's how we'll promote this episode. But yeah, I freaked out about that. I love that. And my sister, like in Canton, Michigan, I don't know
yeah.
what it is about. That's where my sister lives. That's where like a bunch of the Olympic people train. There's like a I don't know what it's called, but it's not a gym, an arena ice thing there. And she will go to some of the things there. Like when they get back from the Olympics, they'll do like ceremonies and stuff there.
That's really cool.
And so she likes to go to all those. And yeah, she's super into all things Olympics.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, people like growing up there were like, oh my God, are you going to the Olympics? Because I was like in Florida, especially like, I was born and raised in Florida. I guess that's important.
Yes.
But like in Florida especially, people were like, oh my God, you're a figure skater. Are you going to the Olympics?
You're like, obviously.
Like, no. Like, I'm not that good, but thank you.
Doubtful. I think you should have gone to the Olympics, but
Thank you.
I might be a little biased.
Yeah, a little bit. It's fine. Thank
a little
you.
bit. All right, let's dive into our game. What's your favorite color?
Yellow.
Yellow. Good choice. Why yellow?
I don't know. For like the longest time, my favorite color was green.
Okay.
But I just like switched. I love sunshine and like I love like the brightness that like yellow is, and it's just like warm and happy and fun and like I just love yellow.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. This one I am going to re-ask because I liked your answer. We'll see if I think it'll be the same. What's your favorite place you visited?
Oh, okay. I am going to answer the same way.
Yay! Because this was a good story.
Yes. So I studied abroad in the Netherlands in college. And we literally went all over the country. And so that trip is just like a whole, we also went to Brussels too.
Amazing.
Which was really fun. But my favorite place in the Netherlands was Haarlem. It was just beautiful, and yeah, it was just like my favorite.
I'm gonna have to Google that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like at this huge Catholic church that's like honestly terrifying. Because we went inside it, but the rest of it is like beautiful. It's just like these old like brick stone streets and like these really cute small like little boutiques. I have like a scarf from one of the shops. Like very European of me.
That's very European. I love that.
Yeah, we went like shopping. Maybe that's why it was my favorite day, because we went like shopping and like to little cafes, and yeah, it was just the best. I loved it. And they had a gay pride like little bench thing there too.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
They're living their best life over there in the Netherlands.
Truly.
What is your profession?
I'm in marketing.
Nice.
I work for a manufacturing company that makes cutting tools.
Nice. Oh, she's got pictures of. Is this the Netherlands?
Yeah, that's the pride bench.
Oh, I love that.
It
I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it, but it's cool. If you send me this, I'll put it on my Instagram so people can see. It's a very cool bench.
I think it's been a long time since I like Google translated it, but I think it means like we're all equal or something like that.
I love that.
I'll interpret it and send it to you later.
Fair. We'll post it on Instagram. You guys can check it out. What's your favorite food?
Okay, same answer as before as well. My gut instinct is ice cream. I do have a favorite ice cream place too. It's Jersey Junction in East.
Oh, yes. I love Jersey Junction.
It's
yes.
so good.
If you are not from the Grand Rapids area and you're going to visit here, go to East Grand Rapids. East Grand Rapids is cute. Like that little downtown area. It's my only place in my life that I know that there's a Starbucks literally on both sides of the road.
Yeah,
so I
that's
approve.
True.
Yeah, they're like literally across the street from each other.
Oh my gosh, I never like thought of it like that. That's so true. Quick little fun tidbit about Jersey Junction. I proposed to my fiance at Reed's Lake, and we got Jersey Junction with all of our friends after.
I love that.
It's like such a special little place to me. But my true favorite food is Thai food.
And where was the place you said is amazing in Grand Rapids?
Thai Chef on the
Thai
Beltline.
Chef. Okay, I haven't been there because
Yes.
we were talking about I haven't really found good Thai food here.
Yes.
Because I got spoiled in New York City because the Thai food there.
With Daniel Radcliffe.
Well, yeah, I shared that I go to Yum Yum too. everyone should go to Yum Yum 2. There's not a Yum Yum 1 anymore, which is weird. You think they would have kept 1 and not 2, but we won't get into that. But I was saying that not only is it the best Thai food ever, you're guaranteed to probably see some sort of Broadway star there because it's like 2 or 3 blocks from Times Square. So it's just far enough that they can like not be bothered, but it's close enough that if they have a show, they can grab lunch in between shows, and it's amazing. And the one time I was there with my partner when I lived there, we were sitting there and the hostess, I guess, came and put Daniel Radcliffe and some chick he was with literally at the table next to us. And I'm talking like the tables there are not like the tables in Michigan. Like literally he was basically at our table. And I was like, oh my gosh, I freaked out. And I told my partner, I was like, we're not talking. Like the rest of this, I'm eavesdropping on Daniel Radcliffe.
As you should have, yes.
So Daniel, if you ever listen to this, I'm sorry. We were probably really awkward and made your dinner really awkward, but we really enjoyed your conversation. So thank you.
So I did not say this last time, but I think it's so interesting because I'm listening to the Harry Potter books for the first time ever.
Nice.
I wasn't allowed to read them as a kid.
Same.
Yeah. So I've been listening to the audiobooks at work to get me through
society because everybody else in the world talks about it.
Yeah. Just like looking at cutting tools all day. I need
obviously
Harry Potter's more entertaining. So been listening to that at work. And
I watched the movies a year ago I guess it was 2 years ago now. It was during quarantine because I felt like I was the only person alive that hadn't seen them. But so true story. I have the book. I'll show it to you before you leave. When I worked at the Christian bookstore when I was 16, this was like, so when I was in middle school was when Harry Potter came out. I'm dating myself here. And it was huge. I mean, like everyone at my school was reading it. And before that, I didn't even know my friends knew how to read. So I was like, you can read? And you're reading what? And they were all so into it. And I wasn't not allowed to read it, but I was very strongly discouraged from reading it, and not necessarily by my parents, but more by my church.
Oh.
Yeah, like my church and my youth group was like really, they would like preach against Harry Potter.
Interesting.
Right. And at the time when I worked at the Christian bookstore, there was this book that came out called Harry Potter and the Bible, and all the things in Harry Potter that contradict the Bible. And I still have a copy of that because I like to show it to people.
To see that. Oh my gosh.
Because I think it's so ridiculous. I was like, can we calm down? This is a children's novel. Like, can we chill? Just not looking back, I was like, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, like reading it as an adult, I feel like is so different. But I'm also like, why was this like not allowed? Like, of course, I know if you hold like a stick and say a word that like nothing is going to happen. Like,
right. I think it was because I forget the character's name. I'm not super Harry Potter knowledgeable, so don't come for me. But it's the bad guy that's kind of like a spirit.
Voldemort?
Yeah, I think so. And they were that was their biggest thing, that he was like demonic but we won't get into that. Anyways, we're gonna have a separate episode where we talk about Harry Potter and figure skating.
Perfect.
Yes.
The one that we recorded already.
Yes, basically. I don't think we talked about well, I guess we did because we talked about Daniel Radcliffe, but we didn't really talk about Harry Potter.
This is true.
Yeah. But yeah, so during quarantine I watched all the movies, and I will say the second one was my favorite, with the flying car. I feel like 12-year-old me would have been very into the flying car, and I feel like I didn't get to experience that as a 12-year-old.
Yeah,
I would have been.
gypped.
Yeah, I did. I would have been very into that. But anyways, we don't need to get into that. What is your biggest pet peeve?
Same answer as before too. I feel like a lot of little things annoy me. But lately I've been really noticing like coughing annoys me. And I have the same 2 stories to tell as well. Like my partner, fiance, like she will cough, and it's like she does like, I guess like cute little coughs, but like it's just like cough all the way
And
like,
get it over with.
Yeah, she sits next to me just like 10 times, like over and over and over, and I'm like, just cough. And she does not like that I get annoyed by it, but whatever. And then also we were at a funeral, and these like old people were coughing up their left lung, and I was like, please, like, can you not?
Yes, I feel like we talked about this. I feel like if it's one cough, fine. But like if you know it's going to be continual, like I would get up and excuse myself rather than disrupt the whole thing. I feel this way. So mine, I'm sorry to people, I've never been a parent, is a crying baby at church. One, there's a nursery for a reason. We're going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
And 2, if you so choose to bring your baby in, like, and they're not calming down, excuse yourself. Like,
Yes.
yeah, like,
Yeah, it's not
I
that
mean,
hard.
I get that you want to be there. I totally get it. But, like, at the same time, it's not fair to, like, disrupt the whole
Yes, I
service.
understand like you want to be involved, but a lot of churches too, like if you walk out into the lobby, you can still hear the sermon and
Right.
stuff. Yeah, I'm not a parent yet, so
Yeah,
I
I
don't
feel
have
bad
that much
because I
say,
don't know
but
what it's like because I feel like I teach, for people that don't know this, I teach piano and voice lessons, and most of my piano students are little. And I will say, even like a half an hour to 45-minute lesson with them, like when I'm done, I'm like, oh, that was exhausting. So I can't imagine doing that 24 hours a day, every day. So I do understand that it's difficult.
yes,
But yeah, you gotta think of other people.
yes,
Yes.
yes, yeah. Okay.
All right. What 3 words best describe you?
I feel like the 3 words I would use to describe myself are never the same as like when I ask people. I feel like the ones that I typically get from other people are like bubbly, fun, and outgoing.
And what are the 3 that you would say?
I would say like probably I would agree with bubbly
I
for
would agree with
sure.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would say like strong-willed. Um I feel like I've been like going through an identity crisis a little bit lately.
Fair.
And I really like want to be caring and loving. Like those are like my goals, but I don't know if like I always am those things, you know?
That's fair.
Yeah.
I said that about my time at the church. I felt like I I was there to be a musician, and my heart wasn't there to be a counselor. And I
Yeah.
felt like most of the people there needed me to be their counselor more than they needed me to be their worship director.
Yeah.
And I remember saying that to people. I'm like, I wish that I had that heart. This is going to be horrible. People can judge me for this, but there was one lady, I'm not going to say her name, that
I
would
think I know
give
what you're
me
talking
that
about.
would give me the same prayer request every week, and I really wanted to be like, just suck it up. Like, stop praying about this. I know that's horrible. I know it's horrible. But those were the thoughts. I was just kind of like, sometimes I wanted to be like, we don't need your whole life story every time it's prayer request time. I have a like rehearsal to conduct, and I would feel bad for that because at the same time I knew we were at church, and I knew that there were some people that were hurting,
Yeah.
and I just, but at the same time I had a job to do, and it was always hard for me. So I always say that I wish that I had a kinder heart
Yes.
to those people. And I'm also I can be very, which is weird that I'm throwing my whole life out into the world, but I can be I handle things on my own. I'm
Yeah.
not the one that would like very rarely ask for a prayer request or like bother someone. I did that in quotation marks with what's
Yes.
going on in my life. So in a way, I think I'm jealous of people that can just be like, hey, I need help with this. And I
Yeah.
wish that I was more like that because I'd
Yeah.
probably be more caring if I didn't have to stress about everything in my
Well,
life.
I feel like I am pretty caring, but I also have been like trying really hard to like protect my peace, you know?
Yes.
And just kind of like also draw boundaries for myself because I am so empathetic. It hurts sometimes.
So that tells you that you have a nice heart. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So hence identity crisis.
Hence identity crisis.
Yeah.
How old are you? Oh,
23.
you don't know anything yet. You got time. You got time. I feel like I wasn't an adult until I was in my 30s. I feel like my 20s were just like extended of me being a teenager.
I don't feel that way. So when you met me, I was 19.
That's
I
crazy.
know. But I graduated college at 20. I've been like on my own essentially since I was like 16. I like paid my own way through college. Like,
That's crazy.
yeah, I'm like very, again,
Independent.
strong-willed and
Yeah.
independent. Yeah, and yeah, just like I knew what I wanted. I got like my apartment after college, and I got a big girl job at 20, and it's been a rocky road, but I mean, I make like good money, and I decided my college major at 15, and I'm in that field now, so I'm
That's
like
crazy.
strong-willed and like very was like set like I am doing this and yeah, so I feel like a lot older than I am, but
Yeah. I always blamed my sexuality on me being like, I didn't explore as a teenager, but you just proved me wrong. Like you were
oh,
on it.
I did my exploring, but I did it when I was 19,
Okay.
so
I did the same thing. I was very, very, very goody two shoes until I was 19. Like I did nothing. Like I sat at home and twiddled my thumbs. And then at 19, I lived very close to Canada. Yeah, I grew up on the east side of Michigan, and it
Okay.
was about a 20-minute drive to be in
To
Canada,
like Windsor?
to Windsor. Yep.
Okay, yes.
And where my mom lives now is like a 10-minute drive. I would have been there all the time. So at 19, my friends were like, let's go to Canada and drink. And I was like, I would never. How dare you? So one day, my friend Heather, who's definitely listening to this, hello, Heather, talked me into going to Canada and then talked me into drinking. And then the rest is history. We went every weekend until
Good for Heather.
Good for Heather. She got me out of my. Back then, I think it's changed now, so don't quote me on this, but as long as your driver was sober, you could come back into the country. But now I think like all of you have to be sober. They give you like a minor under the influence or something like that.
Interesting.
Interesting. But back in the day, they didn't care that much. But I remember we had many good times in Canada. And back then, our dollar was worth like almost $2 in Canada. So
Holy
not
cow.
only could we go drink, we could get drink for like basically half off.
Nice.
Yeah, it was.
Why wouldn't you go?
Why wouldn't you go to Canada? So if you're in Detroit and you're 19, this is not an original idea, but go to Canada. You'll have fun. But the only thing that sucked was when I turned 21, it wasn't the big deal anymore because I'd basically been drinking legally for 2 years.
Oh, see, I turned 21 at like the second height of COVID. So like COVID hit and then like it hit again in the winter time. So like literally the week after everything re-shut down, I turned 21 and so I had Thai takeout.
I love that. Of course you would.
Of course I would, except I was dating this person that you know actually.
I
Obviously
won't
that
call
didn't
them
work
out. You're good.
And it just wasn't the best, and we got into like this huge fight, and it was my worst birthday ever. Long
Sounds
story
like
short,
it.
I ate like 5 bites of Thai food, no cake, and I didn't drink any alcohol on my 21st birthday.
That's ridiculous.
And my birthday's 3 days before Christmas.
So that already steals your thunder a little bit.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, we should go out for my birthday this year. Because I'm like getting married, and so I'm like, need to like settle down and like not go out, but like I should go out for my 23rd
You're
birthday.
23.
Like,
you should be still partying.
yeah, I'm like, we should like have one good birthday. And it was a blizzard that
course
shut
it
everything
was.
down this year. So I was like, well, I'm just like,
We're
never gonna go
celebrating
out.
your birthday in July.
Okay.
We're doing Avalon in July, like most people do Christmas in July. We're doing Avalon in July, and we're going out.
Perfect. I love
I
that.
haven't drank in 20 years, but we'll see how it goes. Anyways, that's not true. I have like a drink now. I'm like an old man.
We went out last night to the Taylor Swift party, so I was a
How
little
was
worried.
that? I saw that
Oh
advertised.
my god, it was my second time going.
Of
It's
course
like
it
the
was.
best. I'm like a Swiftie.
I love that.
And my fiance, like when we started dating, she's like, "You're a Swiftie," and I was like, "I am not. I'm a total Swiftie," which is like is what it is. But yeah, it was so much fun. I went with like my friend Taylor, which is like so fun.
That's adorable.
And her group of friends. So what's funny is my fiance is 6 years older than me.
Okay.
And a group of her friends came too, and she's the youngest friend in that friend group.
Okay.
And so they all stood back, literally like behind the moms. So it was like her and like her group of friends, and I was like, bye oldies, and it was like me and like my friends like screaming our heads off on the dance
I
floor.
love that.
I was a little concerned about my voice, but long story short, we went for tacos and I had like half of a margarita, and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
So I'm basically already an old person.
That's fair. If you had one superpower, what would it be?
Oh, man. Okay. I have the same answer as before, too. When I was younger, it would have been flying for figure skating so I could land all my jumps.
Obviously.
Obviously.
You would have been like Nancy Kerrigan.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, quad, fine.
No big deal.
Yeah. But now that I no longer really skate, I would have to say invisibility because I'm really nosy.
Yeah.
And I just want to know.
Just so you could enhance your nosiness level.
Like not even if people are like talking bad about me behind my back, but just like I want to know.
Yeah.
Like one of my friends like exes started like dating somebody new, and it's like totally out of left field, and I'm like, why and how and like how is that going? Like I just want to know, but like I can't ask. It's like it's weird,
right?
But I'm like flying a wall, like yeah.
Coffee or tea?
Both.
Both.
I love like a good coffee. This makes me sound so gay, but like
This is a safe space.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
A lavender oat milk latte.
That is the
Like,
gayest drink ever. Yeah.
it's so good though. I have a lavender syrup bottle on my desk at work because I love it that much. We have like a fancy espresso machine and like everybody makes fun of me. But I'm like, listen, I need my gay coffee,
You
okay?
need your gay coffee. Who are
Um,
they to
I
judge,
know I have like
right?
oat milk and lavender syrup at work. It's fine.
That's amazing.
But I also really love tea. Like me and my fiance will drink like tea most nights together.
That's adorable.
I'm from the South, so like I make peach sweet tea and like a pitcher like the entire summer. If you come over, I have
I'm
sweet
coming
tea.
over.
Yeah,
That's the one thing. I lived in Tennessee for a while too, and I miss sweet tea. They have sweet tea in Michigan, not the same.
it's not the same.
No.
I'll make you sweet tea.
Thank you. I'm coming over.
Yes, you should.
Okay.
It's great. It's peach sweet tea too, so like added bonus.
Yes. No,
Um,
I when I lived in Nashville, they had this place that did, I don't know if it was peach, but they called it fruit sweet tea, and it was amazing.
so good.
Yeah.
So good. Yes, but and then I'd like love boba tea.
Yes.
Yeah, and I live around the corner from Cafe Boba.
So one of my first jobs was I managed a boba tea. Yeah, I know. No big deal. I did that for 2 years. It was called Tiki
Wow.
Tea. Yeah. Shout out to
Love it.
people in Novi, Michigan that know what Tiki Tea is. Embarrassing. We went on the news and I made, well, we called it bubble tea back in the day. And we talked about bubble tea on the news and I made a drink for the news people and everything. So
Wow,
yeah,
I love
you
that
can
for
find
you.
this on the interwebs. And the funny part is I had worked there for like 2 days when we went on the news, and I knew nothing. I remember he asked me how many flavors we had, and I was like, a lot. Like
That's
it was
so
like I've
funny.
worked here for 2 days. I'm just bubbly, and they put me in front of a camera. I
There
don't
you
know
go.
anything.
Yeah, that checks out. Yeah, I have they have like souvenir cups that like if you like bought the cup for like $25, you like get like 4 free ounces every time you come in or whatever. And like reusable. I'm like an environmental girly, so like
I
of
love
course we
that.
had to. But both me and my fiance have these reusable boba cups.
That's the best thing in my life that I've ever heard. I love.
Really bougie story about bubble slash boba tea. Again, I grew up in Florida, and around this time, my whole life really, but specifically this time, we lived 12 miles away from Disney World. So
Why
we
would
would,
you ever leave?
they dragged me. Um,
Not fair.
I know, it was so sad. But we would go, like, my mom would be like, I'm bored, like, we should go get dessert. And we'd be like, okay, and we'd hop in the car, go to Disney, get dessert, ride a few rides, and then come home. Like, what
What
was
is
my
your
life?
childhood? I'm
Yeah,
jealous.
literally.
I'm very
I grew up in
jealous.
like a beach town and like was a surfer, and then I moved like to Disney World essentially, and like
I'm jealous.
literally, yeah, I don't know. But anyways, so the first time I had bubble tea was at Disney World at the Food and Wine Festival, and
Of
it
course.
was this like lavender, honey, like jasmine something. I don't know. There was an edible flower on it. It was purple. It was delicious. I loved it. I was obsessed, and
Yeah,
here we
I'm
are now.
all right. Last question. What's your favorite Disney movie?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm so glad you asked this. I saw this on your list and I was like, please ask me. Tangled,
That fits you.
right?
That
Okay,
fits you.
but here's like the extra kicker. So Tangled was released, I'm pretty sure like when I was 12, 11 or 12.
That makes me feel old. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. But at the time, we were living in Disney, like near. I was still in the beach town, but like we still went to Disney a lot. And like this is my natural hair color. I'm like very blonde. But when I lived in Florida, I was like more blonde because of the sun.
Right.
But my hair was literally down to my butt. And I had the cute like sun freckles across my nose, and I had like big green eyes, and so like
You were
everybody
just
was like,
her.
"Oh my God, Rapunzel!" And I was like, "Yes, thank you." And yeah,
Did you meet Rapunzel at the park?
so many times. Actually, I did an internship there. My college internship was with my friend's parents' company in Disney World. Well, Disney adjacent. But I auditioned to be a Disney princess.
I love that.
It was so much fun. I like didn't make it past the first round.
Lamb.
But
They
it
don't know what
was
they were missing.
I know. Well, I had tattoos, and you can't have
Oh,
tattoos and be a Disney
my
princess.
the reason why I asked that is my friend was Rapunzel at the Disney park
Really?
for a long time.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I
She-
know some people that are princesses.
Well, no big deal.
Yeah.
You know actual princesses.
Yeah.
Well, your last name is Castle.
I know.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I'm changing it, but
Well, for now it's Castle.
for
Your
now
royalty.
it's Castle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she was her, and then she was the girl from Brave.
Oh, Merida?
Yeah, that- yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I actually might know who you're talking about.
Yeah, we'll talk about her later. I think
Yes.
she'd be fine with it, but and her husband is like a Disney artist now. Like he like
Oh.
does the artwork.
Cool. Yeah, my
Anyways,
friend's parents owned all the character stands around Disney World. And they still own a store in like the Disney Springs, like a storefront. And so I helped manage, they own like an art company as a whole. So I managed like art events outside of their company for them. But then I also like helped manage social media, and like some other marketing things. And then also I was like the manager at the retail store.
That's
It was
amazing.
like the best summer of my life.
That sounds like the
It
best
was the
summer of your
summer I
life.
was 19.
That was your best summer
It was my
so
best
far.
summer.
So far.
Mm, no, I would say this past summer
Oh,
was probably my best summer ever. We traveled a lot. I was like in love like with the woman I knew I was gonna marry, and like it was just like
engaged.
we got engaged at the end of the
Yes.
summer.
Your
Yeah.
engagement pictures from Mackinac Island are my favorite pictures I've ever seen in my
Oh my
life.
gosh. Okay, so I cheated and I proposed first. I wasn't supposed to.
One, first of all, I'm gonna just give a shout out to the lesbians because all of you do this now where you propose to each other. Like,
Yes.
and I think it's adorable. So live your best life, lesbians. I love
Best
that you
idea
just reclaimed
ever.
that. Yes.
Yeah, it was so great, like being proposed to, but also proposing like both ways. It was so special. We had agreed that I wasn't going to propose first, but then her ring came literally 6 weeks earlier than they told me. It's like custom engagement ring from Israel, which is like a whole side topic.
We're gonna have to start a second podcast. Okay.
Don't date a masked lesbian. Anyways, so yeah, it was a whole thing, but I proposed first, and then she proposed to me there, and I was like, how would I propose to you after you proposed to me here? Like, there is no comparison. Like, I'm so glad I proposed first
They're
because
equally cute, but hers, I don't. Did she have a photographer take those?
no, it was just
Those
one of our
are
friends.
amazing. If I have your permission, I want to share them
Yes,
because
please
they
share
are
me.
literally the most beautiful photos of any engagement I've ever seen.
So if
Like
you
she
have,
won. Like I
oh
would have
my
said
god,
yes. I'm not even attracted to women, and I would have been like, yes, let's get married.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
literally, she's like the kindest soul. Yeah, no, it was beautiful. It was amazing. It was jaw dropping. But if you ever go to Mackinac Island, it's in front of the Grand Hotel. So like you walk past the tennis courts and like you take like a left and there's like some ground back there. It is literally, it's called the Secret Garden, and it is literally secret because the trees like are overlined so you can't see where the path is, but there's like a path
It's
and that leads you
beautiful.
back in, like as soon as you turn the corner it's there.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Speaking of that, we're going to segue into our first commercial. So listen to that, and Avalon and I will be right back. Today's sponsor is Meta and Shanti. Meta and Shanti is a wellness spa and boutique in West Michigan. They offer massage, skincare treatments, and yoga classes. They also have a boutique with fashionable clothing at affordable prices. If you're not in West Michigan, no problem. You can shop their boutique online at metaanshantiwellness.com. That's metaanshantiwellness.com. metaanshantiwellness.com. All right, we are back with Avalon. She and I are going to dive in a little bit deeper, so just know that this next section might get a little heavy if you're listening to this. So if you want to fast forward to segment 3, no shade, but if you're here for the heavy stuff, this is where we get a little bit more real. All right, so tell us a little bit about your upbringing. We know you were a figure skater, but what did your parents do for a living? Were you religious your whole life? Were you a church-going kid? Tell us about growing up.
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Florida. My hometown is called Edgewater, Florida.
Okay.
It's like a half an hour south of Daytona Beach. So everybody knows Daytona. My dad, my biological father, he was a surfer guy, like through and through. And he worked in like a boat making factory. So like very like on this
Yeah.
Florida vibe. My mom, when I was young, she owned a Montessori school, which is like so fun.
That's fancy.
And then she ended up selling her school, and I was reading chapter books before I turned 3, 4. I can't remember.
I still can't read chapter books. Like, I'm impressed by you. Okay.
Yeah. Big bookworm, but she like sold her school and she was like, okay, in Florida they have like a strict, you have to be 5 to start kindergarten. And my birthday's in the middle of the year. So she was like, oh, I'm just gonna homeschool her for a year and then we'll put her in public school for first grade. And she ended up loving it, and I stayed homeschooled. I was homeschooled my whole life.
I love that.
My brothers are still homeschooled.
That's crazy.
It was very interesting. Minus 1 year, I went to a private Baptist Christian school.
Ooh.
Um, so to segue into that, I would say I was raised Southern Baptist. If you
Okay.
asked my mom, she would not agree. But the church that we went to was like very like Baptist-esque. Like
Yeah.
it's not the true Baptist religion, but basically they believe the same things. And we went to a lot of like non-denominations, but again, like being in the South, like every church is a Baptist church basically.
I agree with that. They just don't call it that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then like when we moved to Michigan, it was very like Pentecostal, like most like, again like non-denomination, but like they're all basically Pentecostal when you move up here too.
Yes.
So yeah, that was kind of that. Again, homeschooled Christian kid. Yeah, just like very, very that. And very strict. Wasn't allowed to read Harry Potter. No Twilight. No anything really. Like I wasn't allowed to listen to secular music until I was like 9, and then my parents got divorced and my mom became a fitness instructor. So she had to listen to secular music. It was like
Right.
the first time in my life like I'd ever heard like Pink. Um,
Isn't that so weird? I will tell when I talk to friends and they're because I wasn't allowed to really watch movies or listen to music,
Oh.
and they'll be like, "You've seen that movie?" And I'm like, "Nope,
No.
never seen that movie." And so I've tried to play catch up as an adult and
Yeah.
watch all these nostalgic movies. But yeah, I can relate to that.
It's like really hard. Yeah, I watched The Notebook for the first time like last year or something, and I'm like,
We were missing out on so much.
I know.
And there's nothing wrong with The Notebook. It's a cute
I
movie.
know, it's so cute. I wasn't allowed to watch High School Musical
Oh
when
my
it first
gosh.
came out because my mom thought it was for high schoolers, and I was like in elementary school. But
You are such a sinner. Oh my gosh.
I know
School
she
Musical.
ended up changing it and did allow me to watch High School Musical, so that was good. We made
Fair.
it through. But
I was someone that was too old to watch High School Musical and still watched it every day. So the first one, like,
so good.
it's
It's the
classic.
best one.
Yeah.
Really. The second one also really good.
I mean, I enjoyed all of them, but the first one I feel like was the best.
Yes.
Yes.
Amen. Yeah. But I have 2 younger brothers.
Okay.
One is 5 years younger than me, and then my mom got remarried when I was 11, and then they had a child together, and then my stepdad adopted both me and my brother. So my baby brother is like 11 years and 11 months younger than me.
Oh, that's cute.
I know, he's so cute.
11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's 11 now,
Oh
actually.
my, he's
so-
like the trifecta of 11.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yes.
He is just the cutest little thing. And then my brother turns 18. Every time I see him, he tells me how many days it is until he turns 18, like later this month. So
That's crazy.
I know. I'm like, who are you? Like, I was changing your diapers. I don't.
And now you're a grown up. Yeah, that's weird. Some of my cousins and stuff that I babysat are now like adults with kids. And I was like, what is my life?
Yeah. And he plays hockey. My middle brother does.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I love that. When did you move to Michigan? How old were you?
I was 14 when we moved.
14.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was it like a culture shock?
Yes. Yeah. So I grew up in that little beach town, and then we moved to the town next to us, which was New Smyrna Beach. So like Edgewater was like off the coast, but it had like a lake question mark that went into the ocean. I don't know. It was like kind of weird. But then New Smyrna Beach was like the true like beach town.
Yeah.
And then from there we moved to Orlando, 12 miles from Disney, and then we
Jealous.
moved to the other side of Orlando, which is 45 minutes away, just in case you were wondering. And we were like close to downtown in that part.
Yeah.
And then we moved to my mom's hometown. It's called Vicksburg, Michigan, and our backyard was a cornfield.
That's a culture shock.
I had never seen a cornfield before.
You're like,
Oh.
why is it not the ocean?
Yeah,
And
I was
yeah.
like, what is this? It was just really weird. And I thought like I was supposed to go to my mom's high school. So I thought she was going to like let me go to high school, and I was going to like have my like not being a homeschooled kid moment. And one day I came home and she was like, hey, you need to start studying because you have to take a standardized test because you need to go to college. Homeschool laws were different, and I needed to take a science class. And so I took biology and chemistry at college at 14.
That's crazy. Oh my
It
gosh.
was, yes. So it was like an uber culture shock, like living in this like super small town with like all these people have known each other since kindergarten, and I'd moved once a year every year for 5 years. Yeah, it was just like, and the snow, like
Oh my god.
this is my 9th winter here.
And do you still hate it?
Oh my god, I can't deal. One of your questions I noticed was like, what is like would your Broadway musical name be?
Yeah.
And I asked my partner last night, I was like, like, what do I even say? Like, I don't even know. Like, what if he asked me this? And she was like, I hate snow. And I was like, I cannot use that.
I didn't ask you that one because you're not like a musical theater nerd, right?
Yes.
So I save that one for my guests that are like nerding out over musical theater with me. Yeah.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so that's that answer. I hate snow.
Fair. I think people that grow up in the South think that the deep South think that we have like snow every day and that winter's pretty like a postcard, but
It's
really
not.
winter's ugly
It's
for
so
the most part.
ugly.
Like everything is dead, everything is brown, it's gray outside. There's snow occasionally, but for the most part everything's just icky and muddy and
And like the
yeah.
first snow, okay, like it's pretty. The trees are pretty. The all like clean slate of white. But as soon as people start walking in it, as soon as cars start driving on the road, it's gross. Like I'm
Right.
over it. I don't want to see it anymore.
Same.
Yeah, no. I'd rather see sand, white sand.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Sign me up. All right, we're going to segue back into the queerness of this. All right, when did you first realize that you were a lesbian?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I told you I might just like take over, and so
You
I'm
can
gonna
take
just
over. I'll
like
be
take
quiet. I'm going to
over.
sit over here with my Starbucks. Girl, this is your show.
So as I mentioned, like I grew up really religious. And I still like tell people to this day I was raised to be a homemaker. My mom, I bet if I were to talk to her about me having children, she would still say like you'll be a bad mom if you don't homeschool your kids. And so that's just like the mentality I was raised with. I like cleaned my entire house growing up. Like at the my parents got divorced. My mom was separated from my dad for a while. It was pretty hard for us. So I really stepped up to the plate and helped take care of my brother and stuff. I started cooking family dinners when I was 7. I started doing all of the dishes in the house at like 9. Like did all my own laundry around that same time. So just like very like I took care of the household and that it stayed that way until I moved out. The day I moved out, my parents bought a Roomba, so they bought a robot to replace me. And they like talked about it and like they made a joke that like they replaced me with a robot. And I was like, well, at least like you can like acknowledge that now. So just like yeah, but I was expected to like do that whole Christian thing where like you get married young and you have kids young and you have a lot of kids. And it was interesting though because started college at 14 and graduated high school with an associate's degree, and I graduated college with a bachelor's degree at 20.
That's crazy. Well, congratulations. That's
Thank you.
also a big accomplishment. Like that's takes a lot of drive.
Yeah,
But yes.
it wasn't as hard as people think that it is, really. Like it wasn't any different. I just like did my classes at a college rather than like at a high school, and it was for me easy. College was more challenging for sure. I had more on my plate, working full time ish. But yeah, no, it wasn't that hard. But it was interesting because my mom like pushed me really hard to like go to college and like have a career, but then she was like, give up your career and like raise kids. Very like mixed singles. So with all of that said, I was not a goody two shoes teenager. I was like in comparison, but like I was the worst out of my like homeschool Christian group or even like some of my Christian group. But to preface, and this girl was a bridesmaid in her wedding, so like I literally love her to death, and I bet she would listen to this, but she like her family was like a denim skirt homeschool family. Like she told me stories that of like her dad like got mad at her because she wore like a high low dress
Oh
and
my
like
gosh.
you could see the bottom of her knee, like
Heaven
scandalous.
forbid.
Yeah. So like I was the bad one out because like I always had boyfriends and like I was dating guys, and I dated this guy from our church, and like like we were scandalous and like everybody found out, and it was like a whole like thing. We like snuck around like one time and like everybody found out, and then like the whole church knew, and it was just like very embarrassing. And I definitely was like not the best teenager. Like I snuck boys into my mom's house. I like would like not when my mom was there, but like I did sneak out once or twice, like go see a friend or a boy or whatever.
Yes. I
Um,
think it's weird that we as like growing up the way we did, those are just very normal teenage things.
right?
Right. Those aren't scandalous, but when you're raised to like fit in this like cookie cutter where you do no wrong,
Yeah.
even like doing like a very stereotypical teenage thing is like, oh, how could you?
I know.
Yeah.
Well, even my grandma just passed away, and so I've been like speaking with my mom a lot lately, and we typically don't talk, so it's been very interesting. My decision to not speak to her. But I like mentioned that to her the other day. She said something about like a teenager, and I was like, I was a pretty good teenager. Like I never drank alcohol. One time I took one sip of alcohol with my friend and I was like, this is disgusting. And I was like, done, over it. I never like smoked anything, like never like drank, never partied. Like if I did sneak out, I literally like the one time I do remember sneaking out and my parents caught me, actually, it's horrifying. I went over to my friend's house to watch Netflix in their basement. I
Scandalous.
know. And I was dating a guy at the time and like wasn't even with him. But so that guy I was dating at the time, we worked at Chick-fil-A together.
Don't cancel her. She's a good person.
Yes, yeah, it was back in the day. It was so much fun though. I really loved working at Chick-fil-A, side note. But so I worked at Chick-fil-A and there was this guy there. His dad was the GM of our Chick-fil-A. So I'd like seen him around and there yeah, something happened. We all like met together, whatever. He started working at our Chick-fil-A because I convinced him to. His mom was the worship leader at our church too. Conveniently so.
Obviously, those are
Yeah.
the best people. She's taking that back. Okay, maybe I'm just the best.
You are the best worship leader I have ever had. Yes, I will say that. But
but the bar is low.
yeah, but I was interpreting at that church back in the day too, and so his mom was a worship leader, and his dad was a tech leader, and you like wanted to be a pastor, and just like very. Like I was on the path of like where I was like supposed to be going, but like same thing. Our moms found out that we had made out.
Scandalous. Can I tell you a story about this really quick?
Yes.
So I'm not gonna go into detail, but the first time I kissed a boy was the sound guy at church in the church parking lot after rehearsal on a Wednesday night.
Oh my gosh.
There you go. There's some scandal right there.
Wow.
I know.
Scandalous.
Scandalous.
Yeah. He actually, funny story, kind of similar. He like lived next to this church, and so he would like go for a run. Wait, let me back up. Our moms found out that we made out. We weren't allowed to speak to each other. I was like banned. Like his mom like made him like change all of his shifts. So I worked Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, and so he had to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday mornings. If he did get to meet work on a Saturday, and if we had to switch shifts or for whatever reason, his dad had to stay like a little late. He had to go sit on the other side of the dining room because I was like working in the drive-through, and like we weren't allowed to like see each
All
other.
this because you kissed?
Yes, it
Man.
was. It was intense.
That's
And, like,
intense.
I think our moms thought that we did more than we did, but like genuinely at that point we had like just kissed. So yeah, it is what it is. But we like started to sneak around because they wouldn't let us see each other, and we'd like meet in this church parking lot and like make out in the back of my car, and it was so like same thing.
I
We've
love
all
that.
done it. It was a Baptist church.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a Baptist church anymore. It's like switch names. I'm not going to say the name of the church. I don't think this person is out. I don't need them to wreck their life. The things that happen in church parking lots.
Man,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The religious trauma really carries through.
Yes.
So me and this guy were together for a long time. His family ended up moving to Buffalo, New York. And I graduated high school and went off to college. We met the summer before my senior year. We started dating like halfway through my senior year of high school, and then we like stayed together. His mom, I guess for whatever reason, like knew that we were still talking. So she was like, you know what, like you guys like obviously like still like really care for each other, love each other, whatever, like you should be allowed to speak. And so she invited me to come to Thanksgiving in Buffalo, New York. And I've actually
And you were living in Florida or here?
I was in Grand Rapids
Okay,
at
Grand
the time.
Rapids.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've actually never shared this story before, so
Dun dun dun.
we'll see.
This is the exclusive, everyone.
Yeah, I told my mom that his mom, her name was Becky. I was like, Becky invited me to come to Thanksgiving in Buffalo and spend Thanksgiving with them. And long story short, like literally a text like this long from my mom came through, and it was like 2 pages of iPhone for like reference. And basically at the end, she said, if you even consider going anywhere else for Thanksgiving, you're not welcome home for
Oh
Thanksgiving.
my gosh.
And it was my freshman year of college, and I was like wrecked, truly. Like it rocked my whole world. Like I cried on my roommate's bed for like 3 days straight. It was horrible. So obviously, being the strong-willed person that I am, I was like, I'm gonna go to Buffalo then. So I booked a plane ticket.
Oh my gosh.
And I hopped on a plane and I went to Buffalo. And I went back for Christmas, and both times it wasn't like great, but like Christmas, his mom like wouldn't look at me, like pretended I didn't existed, and I was like in her house.
Right.
And so I ended up calling my mom, and I was like, Mom, like, because I wrote her a letter that I wasn't coming home for Christmas, and we had like this whole talk, and it was the one and only time I've ever gotten an apology from my mom. Basically all she said was like, I'm sorry I wasn't like the best mom to you, that I was kind of like checked out for some of your childhood, which I'll give her credit for that. And so we had like this hard talk, and so I called her and I was like, Mom, like I need you to help me come home. Like I'm miserable here. Like please help me. And so I ended up coming home in time for New Year's, and me and my brother started a tradition that year, so it was really special. But then he ended up flying out for his birthday. But in the meantime, we were bored while we were in Buffalo together, and we decided, because he was always like, "You're out of my league. Like you're like way too pretty for me. Like you're out of my league." And I was like, "No, I'm not." I was, but great guy. Really, he's a stand-up guy. Like no like shame on him. Like no bad talking him. Like a truly good guy. And so we were like, oh, we should set up like Tinder profiles and like see who gets more matches. Which like is such a toxic thing to do. Please don't do that if you're in a relationship.
Well, you were probably like 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were a baby.
Yeah, like I was there for my 19th birthday.
Okay.
And we like set up Tinder profiles, and I immediately got like 200 matches, and I was like, oh, I could be like more selective on like who I'm swiping with. Like I don't just have to like swipe on this like Joe Schmo like holding up a fish, you know, like.
Isn't that every guy on Tinder? Some guy holding up a fish?
Back in the day, it was like the only one back in the day. I'm so old. But yeah, so we did that, and we both kept our Tinders the whole time. So like I don't know like what we thought was going on. But before he came out for his birthday, I remember laying in my dorm room bed. It was a bunk bed. So like I literally held my phone above my head and I could not like reach any farther, like squashed in there, and I was like hiding in the corner from my roommates. And I was like, oh, I wonder, like, so many guys like me. This is like boring at this point, like whatever. But I was like, do girls like me too? Like, do girls think that I'm pretty too? They did.
So it was really just, okay, I'm going to butt out. Okay, keep going.
But I thought that they were pretty too. I matched with this other girl, and we're still friends to this day, actually.
Awesome.
So, well, not like acquaintances, I guess. We
Yeah.
talk every once in a while. But we ended up going out on a date. I went on a first date with this girl, and same thing. We were like in a restaurant, and we'd been there, and like they were like closing, and I was like, oh my gosh, like we have to go. And then we got Speedway slushies, which is like such like a random thing. We met up halfway between Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids, so it was like in the middle of nowhere. So we ended up driving to this farmer's cornfield and sat in her truck in the like raining mud, and her truck almost got stuck, but she kissed me.
Man.
In her truck. And I was like, oh yeah, this is it. Meanwhile, my phone is like blowing up from my boyfriend at the time being like, I love you so much. Like, are you okay? Like, where are you? Why are you in the middle of a cornfield? Like, what's going on? What's happening? Side note, I was a cheerleader at my Christian university at the time.
So you were just living an episode of Glee.
Oh my gosh, I really was.
Yeah, 100%.
My previously Baptist Christian university, still very stuck on those rules. I was a cheerleader at, and I was on this first date with a girl, and we made out in her truck until like literally 4 a.m. I got home at 5 a.m. I cheer pictures at 7 a.m.
Oh.
I made it.
I
looked fine. I
obviously
literally
you were
mascara.
glowing.
Yeah, I really did. I only put on mascara and I looked great. Like I don't know what happened. Me and my roommate both like we like woke up and we were like, let's not go. But it was the last thing we had to do for the season. We had to turn in our uniforms, and so we like ran literally across campus.
You had to go, basically.
Yeah. So then he came out. He tried to give me a promise ring.
Those are deep in the Christian community.
Yeah. Well, I already had one from him, but I like lost it. And
can I just say I always thought, okay, I went purity ring. Promise ring is something different.
Yeah.
But I always thought promise rings were stupid. I'm sorry, but no offense to people. I'm like, I'm promising to one day maybe engage to you. I was like, no, that's like putting ownership on me before we've agreed to this. Yeah, I think
like looking back, no, it was so dumb. I hated it. But you know, at the time, I was like, yes, because like I was not ready to be married. And he talked about it. He wanted to get married in June of 2020 and like have a kid like a year after. So if we would have been together, I've been like pregnant with our second kid at the moment, and like that's crazy to think about.
That would have been a whole different journey.
But he was like set, and like especially with my upbringing, I was like, yeah, okay, great. But like I was like really not sure that I wanted it, which like hello, pull it together. But yeah, so he like gave me this promise ring, and he like pulled it out to show me, and I was like, can we talk?
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, and I was like, so like, I don't know, like I'm just like not really feeling this anymore. The girl's like texting me the whole time this whole weekend, and like I just want to be with her instead. But I'm like playing it cool, whatever, and I'm like I'm not really sure, like I don't know if like we still want to be together or whatever. We like stay together, try to figure it out. School ends. He graduates high school because he was a senior. I finished my freshman year of college. I'm getting ready to go down to Florida. I'm not sure. My friend, we're actually not friends anymore, which is really sad. But my best friend at the time was the one that I was going down there with. And she knew something that was wrong with me. I had not admitted anything to anyone or really to myself at this point either. But she could like kind of tell that like something was different. And she's like, Avalon, like you have to tell me something. And I was like, no, I don't. What do you mean? And she's like prying me. And finally she was like, do you like girls? And I was like,
That's very forward.
yeah. I was like, I hate that you know me so well. I was like, yeah, I've been talking to this one girl. And she's like, okay, well, she's not out, so I don't know. But she was like, I've been in love with you since I was 14.
Well, we won't say her name, so
Yeah.
that way no one knows who it is.
Yeah, and I highly doubt she would actually listen to this podcast, but or more unless she knows. But yeah, so she was like, I've been in love with you since I was 14, and like I want to like try dating you when you come down here. And I was already like, I don't really know, like we're best friends, like I might ruin our friendship. And she's like, no, like it won't. If it won't work out, like it's fine. And so like I ended up like telling my boyfriend that I was gay on the phone. I was like, I like girls. Okay, the funniest thing is though, he went to Disney with his family and he kissed a girl at Disney World
Oh.
the same night I had ended up having like my first kiss with a girl. And
So
he
you're
was
both just making out with girls. Yeah, basically. Yeah.
But he like cried, like literally sobbed on the phone when I told him that I was gay, that I liked girls. And I was like, that's dramatic of you. But also, like, I still don't understand. I'm like, why are you like mad that I kissed a girl? Like, you kissed a girl. We both kissed girls. Like, what's the problem?
Yeah. Did you sing the Katy Perry song? I kissed a girl. And
Actually,
I liked
that was
it.
my anthem for the whole summer. And I literally would like blast it until like halfway down my parents' street and then change it to the Christian radio station as I pulled into their driveway.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah, basically. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, I'm so sorry, Mom. Like Oceans playing as I'm
Of
like
course,
pulling in the
Oceans.
driveway, but it's
Yes.
like I kissed a girl the whole rest of the way. Yeah.
I love that. That needs to be a scene in something. That's all I
Right.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, my little like queer movie. Feel free to take it for your show.
I will. I'm gonna have to steal that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Full permission. But yeah, and then so I went down and we were kind of a thing, but I had Tinder, and so I was like talking to 8 people that summer. It was intense. I had so much fun. I had such a good time. Like I really truly figured out what I liked and what I didn't like. And at the end of the summer, I ended up meeting this girl, and we dated for 2 years, and it was good. Well, it was good, especially at the beginning, and then COVID hit, and I graduated college, and she was still in college, and looking back now, like the relationship was really toxic on both ends. Like I needed to grow and learn a lot as a person too, and
Yeah, I think some of those early relationships, very rarely are you with that person, but there's such a good growing experience.
yeah,
And I always tell young people, I was like, you're looking for the one. Like,
yeah,
I know it's sad when a relationship ends, but like, don't look at it as this big failure. It's like, it was a growing and learning experience.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first 2 relationships, they were both wonderful people. They weren't very long. I think they were both about 6 months. But I had a lot of growing up to do, and I had a lot of learning to do, and I think both of them did too. And I
Yeah.
don't have any ill will towards either one of them. Like, they're both wonderful. I'm friends with both of them on Facebook. I love that they're happy and in healthy relationships now, and
Yeah.
I don't look at them as failures.
Yeah.
I look at them as I was learning, I was growing. And one of them, I was so new to being gay that I wasn't really out to anybody, and we had to hide, and that's just not the right environment for a relationship to flourish. Like,
Yeah.
it was destined to fail.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it wasn't like a bad relationship. It wasn't a failure. In very typical lesbian fashion, we were on and off for 6 months. We were really together for like a year and a half. And then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna like take some time. I went on like a date with this girl, and it like ended up like not working out, which was like fine. But I was like really sad after that date, and I was like, I should not be this sad after like one date. I need to pull it together. So I took some more time, and then I got back on a dating app, and then that's like when I met my fiance.
I love that.
Yeah, we went on our first date, and then the next day we went on our second date. And then I didn't see her, and then she was in Grand Rapids, so then I saw her, and then
Nice.
I was camping, and so I didn't see her, and then I saw her Saturday and Sunday, and then she spent the night for the first time on Monday, and then we were dating by Wednesday.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Moved in by Thursday or no?
No,
I'm kidding.
actually, we waited a true 6 months before she officially moved
I
in.
love that.
But she lived with me at like 3 months.
Yeah, I
So
think I'm gonna apologize to the lesbians out here. I think it's funny that you guys are not guys. That you gals are the ones that always get the bad rap for like dating and then like moving in on the third date. I just would like to tell you that all queer people do that. You are not alone. So
yes, I that is a queer
yeah,
thing.
I was
Yeah.
like, you all do not deserve to be the only ones that get the bad rap for that. I think
But
we just get so wrapped up in it, like,
yeah.
and I think a lot of times, not always, but a lot of queer people are trying to escape a bad situation of where they live. So
Yes.
sometimes it's just like makes sense to
Yeah.
move in
Well,
quicker than
and like
others.
being a lesbian and like as I mentioned before, I'm like very empathetic. And like my fiance now, like God bless her soul, like she's more empathetic than I am, which I didn't think was
I
possible.
don't think that's possible.
Yeah.
I'm gonna test her. There's gonna be an empathy test somewhere. I can give you both.
No, literally she like cries over everything. Like if I cry, she's immediately crying and she's
That's good.
precious,
That means she has a
truly.
good heart.
Yeah, so such a good heart. Yeah, like I just there's so much like emotion and like I feel like especially like I finally like knew what I wanted and like what I like needed in a relationship and like her too like she had just come out and she was like kind of seeing somebody like not really sure and then like we met and so I'm her true first girlfriend so like go
That's adorable.
me.
Yeah,
No, really cute. But yeah, just like it's so like I feel like women are like much for the most part are more like emotionally inclined, you know, and so like the U-hauling just kind of makes sense because you like connect really deeply, especially like as someone that dated men in the past. Like I never connected so deeply with men. Probably a little bit because I'm a lesbian.
yeah, that could have something to do with
Oh, maybe,
it.
yeah, but like also because you know it's just like different with a woman. But
Can I
kind
ask
of,
a question?
yeah.
Did you ever feel any attraction towards women growing up, or was it when you were on these dating apps? Is when you're like, because I know I was very sheltered, so I didn't really have a chance to like think about my sexuality or explore my
Yes.
sexuality as a kid
Mm.
or even as a teenager or whatever. Like I don't know, I never really was taught to allow myself to go there. So
Yes.
I really did realize it when I was older. And I was just curious, did you see any signs as a child or was it when you were older?
So same as you. Like I didn't know like that was the thing. Like I
Right.
heard that being gay was wrong, and like I cannot believe the things that I said in high school.
Same.
Yeah.
I owe some people an apology. So if you're
I
listening to this, I'm sorry.
I don't think like I was ever like cruel to anybody. I like very much have always been of the belief of like you do what you're gonna do. I just like sometimes was like, you know, like I don't like think it's right or whatever. Which like I'm still like I can't believe I said that. But yeah, I never like had the opportunity. I never like realized it was like something that could be true. Like I was going to marry a man and have children and like whatever. Like that was just my life path and but now looking back through like a lens of like I'm a lesbian and like I like love women like on my childhood I'm like oh my god I was so gay. You know, and like it's like a big thing that like I've been like realizing now that like ultra femininity is a sign of queerness in a lot of people. And like I was so feminine, like as I mentioned before, like twirling dresses, spinning my hair like on a soccer field or whatever.
I
Like
love that you said that because so many people think the stereotypical lesbian is not that. And I think
yes.
it's great to acknowledge that there are lesbians that are still extremely feminine and
Yes.
in touch with that side of them and still extremely lesbian. You're right.
Yes.
They're not like exclusive. You know what I
Yes,
mean? Yeah.
yeah. I'm like very much like lipstick lesbian. If you don't know who I am in real
Yeah.
life, I'm like very lipstick lesbian. I have like a rainbow bright pastel colored sweater on right now
And she
actually. So
just left coaching figure skating.
yeah,
I
it's
love
fine.
that.
Yeah, but no, like definitely looking back now, but like in actually lies in high school. I was friends with this like lesbian couple and I was like obsessed with them. I thought they were like the coolest. I'm still friends with one of them
I
now
love
to
that.
this day. Yeah, she's great. But they had a lesbian friend and like she was trying to figure things out. She's also married to a woman now, so like good for her. But
Living
back
her best
then,
life.
yeah, she was trying to figure things out and we had like connected somehow and she was like, yeah, we should like meet up and like make out sometime. And I was like so excited. It never ended up happening. And I also remember in college too, one of my best friends still to this day, we're all talking and I was like, yeah, I would like make out with a woman, but like I'd never like date a woman. And like I came out like a year later. So,
That's how it goes.
yeah,
All right,
no.
we're gonna move on just because I'm really curious of this next topic. When did you come out to your parents? How did they respond? What was that conversation like?
Mm. There was no conversation.
Okay.
So, I had met you. So, like, little backstory of how I got to Genesis. I
Okay.
was working at Panera, and there was this woman that came in all the time, and she had a gay sticker on her laptop. And I was again obsessed because I was like the girl that was like sending me like those text
Yes.
messages. Like it was like that time period. So I was like still with a man, was trying to figure things out. And one time I like got the chance to talk to her and I asked her about her laptop and she was like asking me questions about school or whatever. And I mentioned I knew sign language and she was like, oh my gosh, my church needs a new sign language interpreter. She's like, you should come. They're like affirming. And I was like, what does that even mean?
Right.
Like an affirming church? Like, what are you talking about? So I show up. And I was like, oh my God, this is what they mean. Cause you were there on the stage.
Were you just visiting at this
Yeah.
point? Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
don't remember that, but
No, I
okay.
like didn't talk to anybody. I like sat
Okay.
in the back,
Yeah.
and just like observed everything to like see if I wanted to try it. And I was like, you know what, I'll give it a shot. I'll come here. So I'd like met you and I'd heard your story and like about this
Yes.
amazing Broadway show that I'm so excited about. And I stole your line.
Oh my gosh, which one?
So I wrote my mom a letter.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
I wrote my dad a letter, so that's true.
Yes.
Yeah, so keep
Yeah.
going.
So you mentioned like having to hide a relationship. So when I was dating this girl, I was still at my Christian university, and people think this is like wild, but like a private university can do whatever they want, and so they make you sign a rule book, and it says in the rule book that you cannot date someone of the same gender, or you will be kicked out of school. And so I was dating a girl and going to the school, and I was trying to hide it. And fun fact, when I was in the Netherlands, my roommate at the time went through my desk, found notes of my girlfriend, and sent it to my RA to try to get me kicked out of school.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yes. Most like homophobic thing that's ever happened to me,
That's
actually.
that's
Yeah.
I was I'm not going to say the name of your school, but I was surprised when I worked at Genesis how many queer kids or queer adults, I guess, were from that school.
I know, right?
There's like a whole
I
underground.
know so many gay
Yeah.
people from my college. It's crazy. And my fiance also went to a different Christian university I'll tell you about later.
Fair.
Not like definitely absolutely not as strict, but like there's so many queer people from that school too. I'm like, where did you all come from?
Yeah, they're like lurking in the
I
darkness
know.
waiting to come out.
We're from our new church, we're friends with this like lesbian couple, and we have a group chat called the Christian College Converts because all of us went. Two of them went to the my fiance and one of the other women. They went to the college together. They like knew each other kind of in college, and then the rest of us all went to like different schools. But so like we're all like gay people that went to colleges. But yeah, so I come out, I like make it through college. I've like come out to my friends at this point, and I have this plan. I'm gonna come out on June 1st. I'm like, I'm gonna make Pride Month with a bang. I'm gonna
With a
come out. I'm gonna
bang.
make an Instagram post, be like, I'm gay on the 1st of June, and I am a sissy. And I guess
No,
that
you
was
needed
not nice,
time. You
but
needed time.
yeah, I was scared, and so I was not ready to come out to my mom yet. I knew it wouldn't have gone over well, and also COVID had hit my senior year, so I like really wasn't sure I was living. My mom wouldn't let me come move back home and with them. I was trying to like figure things out, so I waited and I got an apartment like mid-June, and the day I came to move all my stuff out of my parents' house, like my bed and stuff that I didn't have with me at college, they weren't there, thank God. They were like away somewhere. And I had this letter, and I'd been working on it for 2 months, writing this letter to my mom. And I left the letter on her nightstand, and I remember she like was texting me like normal throughout the day, and she said something. And I was like, yep, like we left the house, whatever, cool, thanks. And she's like, okay, thanks, love you. And I didn't hear from her for 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah. The letter started with, Dear Mom, I'm gay.
I love that. There's a new show off Broadway called Dear Mom, I'm Gay. Opens in July. Buy your tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Uh,
Yes.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
2 months though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long time.
And then I got a text from her, and it's like fuzzy now, so I'm sure I could find it if I wanted to, but
You're
I'm pretty
fine.
sure it said like, I still love you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I know like this is a lot to like take in. And she was like, I was like pretty strict on my boundaries. I I'm like not this, it's not the safest environment to be around my mom at all times, especially when she's angry. And so I knew I didn't want to go to her home or like be in a home period. I wanted to do it in public. But I also knew I wanted a time limit because I knew it would get out of hand. And so I was like, I can meet you at this restaurant across the street from my work on my lunch break. So like there's an hour time limit. Like
Right.
if we need to meet again, we can. But she was like, no, I want more than an hour to discuss this. And like she didn't really want to do it in public. And so we never met up to talk about it. We still have not talked about it to this day. And when I announced that I was engaged, she like didn't engage in like the Facebook like posts
Is
at
she
all.
still on your Facebook?
She is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually, we won't get into all the details because this is about you, but I removed my dad from my Facebook.
Good for you.
Yeah, it was a tough decision, and somehow I became the villain of this
Of course.
scenario. My dad he would never say anything to me, but he would go around complaining to everyone else about the things that I would post. And I don't post anything like that's scandalous, but I just was like, well, if he has such a huge problem with everything I'm posting, the best solution is just not have him on there. But I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna unfriend him because
Yeah.
I don't want to like censor what I post
Yeah.
because I already kind of do that because I'm a teacher and I teach with little kids. So I am aware that like their parents and stuff are on there. So I don't like post anything that would offend their parents. But I was just like, I should be able to share a cute photo of something that happened in my life or a vacation photo without somebody losing their mind over it. So you still haven't spoken about it with your mom.
No. But like on that same note, so I'm a youngin, so
Yeah.
I don't really use Facebook that much. Instagram's my go-to.
Fair.
And my brother is not allowed to follow me on Instagram because I post gay things. And my mom
things.
unfollowed me on Instagram a
Okay.
really long time ago.
All right.
Right after I came out and I was posting stuff about like being gay and like queer visibility and like all this stuff, she unfollowed me. But I don't really post that much on Facebook, especially about like being queer. I came out on Facebook with my engagement post actually. Like
Yeah.
it was like insinuated, but like yeah.
That was
like,
your
only to
official
me.
I'm coming out moment.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
hey, I'm marrying a woman.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Surprise.
Yeah. But yeah, no, we still haven't talked about it and she ignores it. She unfortunately has met Abby. It was like my life goal to like get her not to meet Abby. Like Abby's so special to me. Like she's such a wonderful human being and like
Abby's your fiance for people that don't know.
Yes,
Because we haven't
sorry.
used your name yet, just so that people can make that connection.
Yes, Abby is my fiance. And like I feel like my mom especially would like hold that like above like, oh well I got to meet Avalon's fiance, so we're still like everything's fine with us and like everything is not fine with us. And so I like tried really hard to not get her to meet her. But my brother plays hockey, my grandma died. There were things that came up, you know. But she like will speak to Abby and will be kind to Abby. She bought Abby Christmas presents, which was
Well,
like,
that's
really
nice.
weird.
That's a big step.
Yeah. Well, she bought her a scarf that was like pink and purple. Actually, it kind of looks like the lesbian flag colors, which is so like ironic to me. But it's like very girly. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited for the scarf. And Abby's like, cool.
She's like, now you have an extra Christmas present.
She was like, I'll take the beanie. And I was like, that's fair. But like, she talks nice to Abby in person, but I don't know. She like posted something on Facebook a while back and she's just like very clearly like so not supportive. And if I do post anything on Facebook that includes like Abby or I, she like will not acknowledge it. If I like talk about being engaged or planning a wedding or anything in person to her, she like will not respond or like pretend she didn't hear it or whatever. And just
Yeah, that's awkward.
it is.
That's
It's very awkward. Yeah.
So do you have a relationship with a father figure? Because you talked about your biological dad. Do you have a father figure in your life? Or are you connected to your dad somehow? Like, what's that like?
My relationship with my dad is really complicated. He was really physically abusive growing up, both to my mom and then to me when I got older too. Watched him hurt my mom and called the cops on him when I was 9 years old.
Wow.
And saw him get arrested. And that like really is life changing, especially for somebody so young, you know? We have a very complicated relationship and I waited a really long time. And basically I wrote like an FU letter to him.
Fair.
When I graduated college being like this is how far I've come. And I told him I was gay. Basically like if like you don't accept that, like I don't really want you in my life. I still don't really want you in my life, but like just letting you know, like here's where I'm at. Like I made it without you, essentially. Right. And we like kind of started talking. He doesn't really put any effort into our relationship, and so like I don't either. I'm just not sure how I stand. Like I don't really want to be in a place like alone with him. for
Right.
safety reasons, of course, and just like other things. So he's fine, I guess.
He's fine. You guys
Yeah.
fair. No, I was
Well,
just
like,
curious if that was a relationship in your life too. So you
yeah.
really don't have a strong relationship with either one of your parents right now.
No, and
Yeah.
my stepdad adopted us. My biological dad paid for my stepdad to adopt us, so that's like a whole nother issue with him. And he is a really great like guy. He's a really great dad to my brothers. He is like I think like a really good partner to my mom overall. But he was 27 and I was 10 when we met,
Yeah.
and like being a dad to a 10-year-old little girl when you're that young, like it was just weird. He's like a cool like uncle
Fair.
sometimes, but he's also really not supportive either. And so like he like won't speak to Abby and like he won't really talk to me anymore either in person, which is sad because he was actually like my favorite parent for a really long time.
Right. Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, and so we don't really have a relationship there either. So yeah, I don't really talk to any of my parents, but Abby's parents are really supportive and they're wonderful. I like
Good.
feel like going home to like a parent's house is like what it feels like when I go to Abby's parents' house. It's like very comforting and they always have coffee for me and I love that.
I love that. Well, that's good. I'm glad that you found some sort of peace with that a little bit.
Yeah.
Even if it's not, hopefully your parents will come around. My dad and I hardly ever talk. It never got better with my dad. I think I said in the last podcast, we text on his birthday and my birthday, and maybe on Christmas, and occasionally throughout the year, but it's rare. And I haven't seen him probably in 2 or 3 years. So it's
Oh.
been a while. It's been before COVID. Well, that's a lie. I saw him last year at my nephew's graduation, but that was the last time in the last 3 years, 4 years that I'd seen my dad.
Wow.
And I've made peace with that. I've
Yeah.
I've decided like it's okay. And but my mom has come a really long way. And
That's
my
good.
mom will come visit us. She's really great to my partner. She's wonderful. She treats him like a son.
Oh.
So that it can change,
Yeah.
but it took us a long time. I would not say that that happened overnight. It probably was like 5, 6, 7 years before my mom really put in the effort to like try and change her mind.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Um,
there are like so many factors with my parents that like we like don't need to get into on this podcast.
yeah,
But there's just like a lot and I think even if they were to come around on me being gay, I'm not sure if like that relationship will ever be there. But no, a big factor is like my parents won't allow my brothers to come to my apartment because I'm gay and I have a partner that lives with me. Um, and so I just like have like no real interest in it. You know, like why am I gonna like mold myself into a version of me that you want me to be?
yeah.
When I
I
have so many people in my life that celebrate me for who I am, like authentically, you know, and so
yeah,
like
and
I'm
I
not gonna change.
I feel like they don't understand because even with my family, don't feel like they don't understand how hurtful that was to me.
Mm-hmm.
They look like it's like their choice, and these are the things that we did, and that I'm just expected to just forgive them and forget everything because
Right.
none of that was hurtful to me, and because my family did similar things. We don't need to go into everything. What would you tell a younger lesbian person listening to this?
Follow this sounds like cliche, but like follow your gut and like I think I just said this, like don't let anybody change who you are. Like there's so many people that are gonna love you for you and love you so authentically and fully. Just be who you are, no matter how scary it is.
Yeah, I love that. And then this could be twofold, so
Okay.
you can interpret it how you want. What are your dreams for the future? They can be your personal dreams or dreams for the country or for the world. What does Avalon dream for the future?
Okay. My personal life dream has always been to be a mother. I want to have children. Um, I did not have the best mother growing up. She tried her best, but it was just hard. And I want to be the best mother I can be. I'm human. I will make mistakes, but
Yeah.
be the best mother I can to my children. I'm a big believer if you aren't ready to accept your child, no matter how they are, don't have kids. And so I've like noticed some things in myself that like I need to work through too in that process. So like really focused on like healing and just being the best like wife and mother that I can be, but in that too like truly building a community around me that have all those same things. So people, other queer couples that have children and are building that, straight ally couples that are going to love me and my family and my children for how we are and how we identify, and that will always support and champion my children for me, and creating a truly community environment that no matter who you are, where you come from, that you are welcome here, which is like a very church saying to say, but I feel like the church is like the worst place for that.
Right. But you want to say it and be authentic with it. Yes.
Yes, yeah. And I do go to a church now that is like that, and just like embodying that and just being like, yeah, like if you're broken, you're welcome here. If you're queer, you're welcome here. If you're straight, you're welcome here. If whatever. And I just wish people would get that message and live more like that, like truly like love your neighbor and not the Christian way.
Yes, in the authentic way.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I've enjoyed our chat. We got to chat extra long
Oh my
because my
gosh.
stupid computer wasn't working.
Thank you for letting me talk so much.
Yes, no, I've loved chatting, and you're like the fifth or sixth episode that I've recorded, and I've genuinely enjoyed meeting people, and even people that I've known for a while, hearing more their story. I learned so much about my friends that I didn't know. So I think it's been great to just get to know people and chat with them. So that's it for this episode. As I always say, follow us on Instagram at Dear Mom I'm Gay. Follow us on TikTok, on Facebook. If you would like to be a guest on here and share your story, you can email me at deargaypodcast@gmail.com. I would love to sit down if you have something unique to say or just really want to share your story. This is a great platform for that. Just reach out to us and we will see you next week.